Okay, so basically, I just like to welcome you both, Janelle and James, from LiveU to the show. Um, this is part of our NAB Hub and Production Hub coverage, and so we're really excited. You're the first on you're the first on the block. You're the brand new kids on the block for this adventure. So Janelle, we're going to start with you. And first of all, I know you probably have a last name. So why don't you tell us your name, your title, and some of the things you're doing and working on this show?
Yeah, so I'm Janel Fleming. I've been at LiveU a little over 2 years now. I'm the sales group manager for the sports show or sports side of the business at LiveU, director of sales. So I've been in this role a few months now. Obviously, had some bad luck recently, but loving LiveU and got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. And James, your control room / apartment looks pretty cool. Why don't you tell us? I know you probably have a last name too.
I do.
Yeah.
My name is James Nuzzo. I am technically the sports marketing coordinator at LiveU, but more recently I've taken on the role of technical director, producer of producing our show remotely here. And I've been at LiveU for a little over a year. And now I have a control room in my apartment. So
he's the man of many hats at LiveU. So.
Right.
No, that's not bad. I mean, the problem is you can probably pretty much, you don't have much of a commute. You're probably just gonna, walk from like me.
I walk out that door and walk in here every day.
Yeah. So let's start a little bit from like an overview of the programming side of things and talk about the idea behind the programming that you're doing currently online. And then we'll talk a little bit later about some of the gear that you're using to get there, so to speak. So either one
sure,
of you jump in.
I can start. So we decided to do a LiveU Sports Show specifically at this time, mainly because, we're all sort of facing this no sports reality. So what does LiveU do in here? And we thought it was a good time to educate customers, bring in some of the customers that use LiveU for different purposes in the sports world specifically. So our first guest was NASCAR and how he's using the equipment and even using other equipment to execute on goals that he's built up over the last year and still plans to do in the latter half of the year when things get back to normal. So really this was our way of educating customers, bringing some interesting insights from our customers that can be shared later on or leveraged later on. We even have a, technical corner we're calling remotely interesting. So to go through, yeah, seriously.
How do you feel about that, James?
Yeah.
What do I do about the remotely interesting?
Yeah, the title there, that's kind of a very catchy title. I like it actually a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was our marketing team that came together with that idea. So I can't take all the credit for that, but it is about going into the products and the technical side of things that make producing a show remotely or anything remotely really interesting. So we go into depth on that. And the first episode, Janelle went into at-home production a lot and talked about that since that's what we're using to produce the show.
And this is really a different take or a different, to use a marketing terminology, different vertical where it's hey, this is really sports centric versus other types of quote unquote traditional live production, like a concert or something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you think of LiveU, traditionally, it's very news centric. How we came into this world, in this broadcast world, was for ENG like services. So thinking about all the diverse needs of sports and how we've met certain aspects of them, I think is interesting and not very well known. So like I said, this is really a chance to educate people.
And so for those who are not familiar, you're going to be doing this show Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time?
Correct.
Okay. And so so your primary platform right now is Facebook, and then you're shipping off to YouTube later? Is that how that works?
Yeah, so we thought it would be, we have to have proof in the pudding. So we thought let's do it live because that's what we're selling here. So let's do a live show how it works, while talking about how it works. And then, yeah, so we decided Facebook Live, and then James, cuts it up and posts on YouTube afterwards.
It's part of that tricky brand name, I think, LiveU kind of sort of thing. Yeah.
Gotta walk the walk.
Yeah. So, well, let me ask a couple of questions. How much time are you guys spending kind of ruminating and figuring out, well, okay, what are we going to cover tonight, and how long is the show and things like that?
I would say, we have a pre-show a couple days in advance to talk about like content. And then we also discuss, down the road, a week or two, right? Who do we want to invite next week? But this week, what do we want to showcase content-wise? What does the customer use our equipment for? And what kind of questions we can ask them? And we don't want to take up too much time. We don't want an hour, commercial about LiveU. We want to hear something that a customer and other customers want to hear. Yes, some to do with LiveU, but also to do with other things, right? There's big ambitions in sports beyond LiveU. So we want to make sure that gets highlighted and, maybe talk about, what's going on now with COVID. But I would say probably a couple hours pre, and then day of, we do a little bit like 30 minutes beforehand, quick rehearsal. Right.
So let me ask you this tricky question because I feel like asking a tricky question. So if you're speaking to a customer, and let's say they're technically set up in their apartment or house or their what have you. Do you have the ability to roll in there? Let's say they're talking about, let's say golf or a tennis match or some other sport. Are you able to take their footage and roll it in live, or do you have to do that in post?
So there's a couple different ways that we do it. We asked in our pre-show meeting for them to send any B-roll or pictures to me, so I can load them into the switcher. So I have the option to cut away to B-roll or show a picture real quick if we need to. That's one way to do it, but I do have the option to go in post and add things over that. So we could do both, but so far we've just been doing a lot of pictures, and I'll show some videos during the show as well.
Well, I mean, I think that you may or may not agree with. I really feel as the end user, not that I don't like seeing you guys or seeing whoever's speaking, but I think B-roll and even stills, production stills, or just other things you're doing a show now. You're not just doing talking head or death by PowerPoint or something like that. I know as a producer or just someone just watching something, I want to see some of what's going on from a production standpoint.
Right.
Certainly.
And one of the things we do in the show too is we have like slates between segments. So like I edited together a little open for the show, so it feels more produced. And then when we change to a different subject, I'll throw up a little slate that says, remotely interesting, and then we'll go to that segment. So it seems more produced rather than just saying, okay, now we're going to talk about this, like we would be on a meeting.
I want to see where it goes to the remotely interesting segment, and James has a sad face. That would probably be like, come on, man, we gotta have something better. Yeah, I did see the trailer, and I thought it was pretty interesting in terms of being able to cut material in. So I guess I want to, unless Janelle, you have something that I missed that we should be talking about. I understand you're not only using obviously your field units, but you have IFB, video return, and things like that. So
yeah, James can walk you through his setup right here.
yeah,
Right.
please do.
So it was super important for us, since we're doing a LiveU show, to use our own equipment. So we sort of built everything around that. So we have a LiveU quad server. We have a LiveU video return server. We have an audio interface. But pretty much the server allows us to pull in any 4 feeds from any of our field units, whether it's a smart app, the 300, the LU 600. Any of those could come in here, and I could get them as a feed in my switcher. The video return is something we added so our hosts and guests can see themselves. Obviously, when they're on air, it's important because since we're all remote, we're just relying on IFB to hear each other, but it's important to know when you're on screen or what's coming up or anything like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what the setup here underneath my table is. And then on top, I have the switcher. Like I said, I preload in graphics and stuff. And then during the show, I have 8 arms and I'm doing a bunch of different things at once. So it's tough, but it's very cool.
So you're the producer / director / audio / everything else.
Everything.
Yeah. So I guess part of the thing in terms of the technical thing I wanted to ask, and this is again another trick question: is there any technology that you're using right now that would have been rolled out at the aforementioned NAB, or are you using what you had in-house already?
So mostly what we had in-house already. The only thing we rolled out early was the video return feature that we can send program return to our LiveU control app in the field. So previously, we only were able to really send to LU 600 units out in the field. So they'd have to be connected sometimes to an external monitor. But since we're using LU Smart to get these guests into the show, that's why we were saying, you know what, let's enable this for this show early on, so that way they can really see this feature and how great it really is and how helpful it can be for when this all ends and we have a real production. You can really see program return from the bar if you wanted to.
Oh, well, James, don't take that personally. I think you're doing real production. So
Thank you, Mark.
I get it. And you know what? Anytime you have a bunch of different sources and you're trying to just make that whole thing flow together, that, whether you're doing, like, for instance, I have friends that do golf and things like that, and it's a bear. I mean, of all things to attack, I guess, so to speak, production-wise, golf is probably, one of the more, just because of the distance and everything else that's going on with that. And, it's not like boxing. Boxing's like shooting bread in a pan. It's just there, and that's it. So, so you were mentioning this feature. Is this something people have to pay for? Is it a free upgrade, or how's that going to work?
You're asking a salesperson. Just keep that in mind. Yes, it's a feature that we're upgrading to those who have already purchased or leased a video return server.
Okay.
So part of our pro license is rolling out these updates like this.
Okay, good. Yeah, because again, I can't mention the manufacturer because I get in big trouble, but you can't really, chuck out a brand new product and then, oh, by the way, 2 weeks later, so on. You guys get it. You understand that in terms of that. So I guess the question is that this is another thing that I was thinking of, is that even, because nobody really knows when this is going to unfold, so to speak. So is this something that you're hopeful that will continue in either out of the office, or poor James, but you're now, keep upgrading your apartment and things like, so what do you, if you had to, like, a crystal ball and you could kind of see, hey, where do we think this thing's going to be in, let's just say, September or October?
Well, originally we wanted to do the show in our office anyway. And sort of this whole situation is what kind of escalated to this point is, well, now is the time we should be producing more content like that. So I do think that we'll continue to do it. I don't know if it's going to stay here in my apartment, but we'll probably continue to push out episodes. And if it's moving all this stuff back to the office or a studio or something, then so be it. But I'm sure I'll be doing everything still.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say, if your apartment's midtown, then that's a pretty pricey control room. So what is your thought on that, Janel?
So my thought is we could move this. I mean, obviously still be producing it at home, but we could start featuring actual, like, go to maybe a PGA event or go to, you know, the college football season starts back up. Maybe we go to see Auburn or, you know, University of Oklahoma, some of our big college customers, and really get a sense of, you know, maybe walk around their control rooms and see really on the back end, like what they're doing. Just a little bit more interesting content that you can do live. And I think it's a little bit more exciting to do it live because, you know, people could be a little bit more off the cuff and get better engagement levels, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think you should have mentioned the University of Oklahoma first, because that's my alma mater. So, you know,
I saw that.
Give them props. Yeah, give them props first. No, I'm kidding. Whatever, you know, well, no, I'm not kidding. Why am I kidding?
Yeah, you want to see that, right?
I'm not kidding. I am very, a little bit that. Well, I think unless I missed something, which I hope I didn't, is there some kind of something else you'd like to tell our viewers before we call it a day, so to speak?
I don't know if you want to, I could show you really quick how quick it is to get on this show. So, just a little show and tell. So I got a text message, basically that says, hey, like, we registered your LiveU Smart device. I clicked this link and I'm essentially got a camera source right here in front of me. So if you look behind James's shoulder, I'm going to hit start. But pretty quickly you'll see that feed come up of me in my LiveU Smart. Right there you go. See? There
you go. That's nice.
And that's how quick we can get a guest on this show, which I think is a super cool feature and gives us so much flexibility, and anybody flexibility to just, you know, for a live or any production, really just turnkey. You got a person from their home broadcasting. So
right. And then so if just to project a little bit, if you had someone that was really, I don't know, I always like the cool factor. They could pretty much just be on the minute you can.
Right, and all you need is your phone and plug in a headset to it, so you can hear back the audio and also talk, and we can get your audio in here.
Yeah, I like how you did the Vanna thing, James. That was really nice back there. Yeah, that was beautiful. I love it. Well, I want to thank you both for your time. It's really been great to have you on. And then as soon as hopefully we can revisit in a few months or a month or whatever, whatever is working, where we can all get together, and then go from there.
Sounds great.
So,
thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to pray to the good Lord this worked the way I wanted it to. Take two, right? And then I hope both of you stay healthy and well, and have a blessed day.
You as well, Mark.
You too.
Thanks.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.